I'm Bea.
And I'm Sam.
And we're two best friends who like to talk shit about smut, wingspan,
And sometimes books.
Join us every Wednesday for a new episode. Did you ever think that agreeing to do this with me really meant how much time you would spend with me?
Yeah, think it through today.
We've probably spent more time together since starting this podcast in the last 3 months than we did in the 7 years prior of our friendship.
Yeah, absolutely.
I reckon we have.
Easy.
Well, it's too late to back out now.
Locked in. Well, I don't know. I've got my HR meeting on Wednesday. I might be getting sacked.
Your 3-month appraisal. So, welcome to episode 16, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Episode 16. We are, the main topic of today, we're talking about burn, glow, spark. Heat. Fucking hell, I can never remember. We're talking about Heat of the Everflame today.
By Penn Cole.
Penn Cole, continuing in the Kindred's Cursed Saga, book number 3.
Yes.
And we also today, in the world of podcasting, this won't mean much because things happen in weird order, but we also did our Penn Cole interview today.
Yay.
It's happened. We've done it. It really happened.
Oh, yeah. Amazing. Didn't think, not that I didn't think it would happen, but like, I don't know, when we started the podcast, like...
We never thought that we would be doing things like this.
Well, we never thought that we'd have people who would like comment and say like, oh, we want to see this from you. We want to see that from you. We never thought we'd have authors willing to have interviews with us. Like we probably thought like that they wouldn't even respond, let alone respond and say yes.
Yeah.
So it's all a bit, well, I had a little cry, didn't I?
You did.
After we came off the phone with Penn, I did have a little cry.
If I wasn't so dead inside, I probably would have cried as well.
I just felt really overwhelmed, and it just a bit like everything just hit me.
And not because it was negative. It went
oh my god,
wonderful.
No, it went amazing.
She was an absolute dream.
But I don't know. I'm just like immensely proud of us both.
Yeah,
I think like when we first started it, we were a bit like, oh, will people make fun of us? What if our friends come across our page? Will they laugh at us? Like, oh, I don't want to post videos of my face. I don't want to. I'm gonna put a trickster voice on so that
we used to do voiceovers because we were so nervous.
And now like we're into
Penn Cole.
Like it's just, I'm just really proud of our like personal growth as well. Because when we started this, like we were not shy in terms of like introverts. Like in our social settings, we're not shy.
Oh no, we're the two loudest.
But when it came to like putting out faces on social media, we were quite shy.
Yeah.
I'm just really proud of us that we.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't have thought of anything worse than sitting and interviewing an author.
I know.
I'd be like stumbling over my words, but like, well, I personally think we nailed it.
Yeah,
and
it went really well.
Hopefully when the episode comes out, everybody loves it.
Yeah, I think as well, like when I pitched this idea to you, not even just pitched this idea, when we started our book talk accounts and, you know, we started doing like reviews and arcs and stuff like that, like we were just so nervous.
Yeah.
And to think then, you know, we started a podcast, and I remember when we were talking about it and doing it, and it was just like, yeah, we were just, like you said, we were just so nervous. And I know everybody says this, but when I say we genuinely didn't think anybody would listen, we really didn't.
No.
There couldn't be two people who are less qualified to be doing this than us. Like, we've said this story so many times. We recorded our first episode on a fucking headset. Like, we didn't have a clue.
No.
We just chucked out that episode. We had no plan. And
now it's had like 130 views.
And to think, I think also it's like not that I never expected this in 10 years, but to think that we're only sat in month 3 is just insane.
And we're interviewing authors, like as if we're qualified to do that.
And like not to toot our own toot, but with hopefully a few more in the pipeline.
Well, we've got, we don't want to say too much, but we've got some yeses in the back pocket. We just need to figure out timings with some authors. And we're just going to keep asking.
Yeah.
We're going to keep putting the requests out, space it out so that we haven't got like 10 interviews in a month. But
yeah, because I think our sort of style with them is that we would like to do the book series before and then have the author interview.
Yeah.
Obviously, so far the ones that we've got in the pockets are all quite short series.
Yes.
Like if we were talking like a 9-book series, we'd have to be coupling those up.
Yeah.
But we would like to sort of not just sort of haphazardly release author interviews, because I think as well for us, like we, and I'm not, can't say forever and ever because who knows, but certainly for the time being, we like want to interview people whose work we've read.
Yeah.
Because we want to be able to do like a genuine in-depth interview.
Yeah, and like not to say that we don't care about people we haven't read, but we can't build that rapport with them and talk about their books.
Yeah.
So like it sort of takes away most of the questions, because a lot of the questions we asked Penn today were like about her books, about her characters, about how she feels about certain characters. So we wouldn't be able to do that with an author if we didn't read their book. So it would just be more about like their writing styles, and like it would be more vague, I think, if we hadn't read their books. So I think the way that we've done it with Penn has been really nice, and that's what we would like to do moving forward.
And we've always said that like we want this podcast to be like you are sat on this sofa with us chatting crap about your favourite books. And so when we interview an author, obviously geographically the chances of them being able to be physically here are slim. So we want it to seem as like natural as it possibly is. And we wouldn't sit down with somebody to talk about their books if we hadn't read them, you know? So you know, we that's really important to us. And so the fact that we're getting yeses from people that we are absolute huge fans of regardless, like even before we started this podcast we were huge fans of some of these authors, to think that they're saying yes to little old us is just crazy. And you know, we're not going to keep doing the social media updates every week now. We feel like we've sort of
banged that drum a bit too hard.
Well, and I think we've grafted for it because we know that it gets the podcast out there.
Yeah,
but we've hit our goal.
And I feel like we've established our listeners. Like there's never a week where we put an episode out and we get no listeners. Like consistently week on week. Consistently week on week we see, you know, a trend in the numbers
and
that
people
we're
coming
getting.
back to listen.
So I feel like we've established,
we've done it.
Like we've not a fan base, because I'm not saying you're our fans,
no.
but we've found a group of people who want to hear what we've got to say about books. So.
And that's all we could ever dream of.
Even if it was one person, we'll
keep doing
chuffed.
it. And because we genuinely love doing this.
We listen to our own episodes back. Like, and I'm like giggling about things that we've said. And I'm like, you were there, Sam. You said it. Like, why are you still laughing?
What we do want to do from now on, which will always be consistent, is what are we reading this week? Let's talk about it for 10 minutes. What are you reading this week?
The Book of Azrael.
Yes.
Or Azrael?
Azrael. It's just spelled different to the other Azrael. Yeah.
Yes.
By Amber V. Nicole.
Yes.
So I've read the first two in the series, and they were on your recommended list, but it's not that I hadn't put them at the top, but they were just, you know.
My recommended list is just an ever-growing list.
That's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah. But slow start for me.
Yeah, I don't remember that, but it's been a while since I read the first two.
A lot of people, I've obviously been looking at spoiler-free stuff on TikTok, and a lot of people are saying the same. It's hard to get into, but once you get over that hump, it's the second half of the book is phenomenal. So I think I'm about 25% in, maybe even like 30% now. So I'm getting there. I'm sort of like starting to form theories in my head and where I think the book's going to go. So we'll see.
And I'm reading the Dawn of the Cursed Queen. It's in the other room because it's on my bed. Which is book 3 in that series. So the third book came out like a few weeks ago.
And there's a fourth book coming out in January of next year.
So
which she's currently writing.
She is. I was in Waterstones one day, and this book wasn't due to be out for like a week.
Yeah, you said.
And it was just on the table, and there was one copy, and I was like, that definitely should not be out yet. And I was like, I can't not, can I? You know. So I had it, even though I didn't start it early. I could have just bought it at the normal, you know. So I'm currently a couple of chapters in. What's really nice though, this is not a spoiler, because it's probably been a year. I think I read the second book when I first started back work maternity last June. So it's been nearly a year from the second book, and probably longer for the first. Is that the first chapter in the third book is one of the characters retelling you all the highlights of the story so far.
Oh, nice.
So it's almost like a little previously on.
So it just carries on.
Yes,
because obviously the first book is like Diana, Kane, Liam, Sam Keel.
Yep.
Yeah, so
yeah, it's
same.
also
Okay, cool.
and
cool.
every book ends on a huge cliffhanger.
Okay.
It's very good though.
Okay.
Very good. So,
Heat of the Everflame.
Heat of the Everflame.
This book was a lot bigger than book 1 and 2.
Big boy.
Yeah, about 1,000 pages.
Yeah, so I think I remember if I read this, I must have read it about Penn Cole. Maybe in a previous interview she did or something that I'd watched, but I saw a lot of comments that she'd made about people would sort of typically say to have split this book into 2.
Yes.
But it was important to her to not do that.
Yeah.
And everybody might have different opinions on it. I know not everybody loves a really big book. I think it's like 1,000-pager, isn't it? It's a big book. We both, after finishing it, commented saying we liked that this was a really big book. It does feel like you're reading 2.
Yeah.
But I like that it's all in one.
And she does split it into part 1 and part 2. The actual, you have a page split where it goes part 1 and then part 2. So, yeah. But, I never felt like, slog.
No.
It was enjoyable. As well, all those stuff's been.
I think as well, when you are in the fantasy romance genre, probably more so when you're in the hardcore fantasy, but even in our genre, we're always in for the long run,
Yeah, we're here for it.
Minimum, even sometimes a duology feels a bit short for me.
Yeah.
So it's, I think it's the right genre to be able to do it in.
Yeah.
And
yeah, if it was a romance novel, it might get a bit sickly sweet by the end of it, but in fantasy you can do it.
And even so, Penn Cole is just a fucking class writer.
She is. And the nice thing about this book, even though it's huge, because they travel throughout the realms, because it's not all in one setting, it never feels like I'm fucking sick of this now.
No.
Because you see a lot more of the different realms in this, which I fucking loved about this book.
Yeah, it was great. It was so enjoyable. Again, not to spoil, but we fucking love this one.
Yeah. Do you want the dedication?
Yeah, we love the dedications.
The dedication for book 3. For all those caught in the flames, remember that the hottest fires forge the strongest swords.
They're lovely.
I'll wait to see what the book 4 dedication
I know.
is.
I wonder what book 4 dedication will be. I wonder.
I'm very excited. So we finish book 2 with the explosion at the Kindred's temple.
Yes, and she sees her mum.
Yes. Then we start book 3 and Diem is captured by the Guardians.
Waking up in a jungle?
Arboros, the realm of root and thorn.
Mm-hmm.
Eyes of moss bring nature's scorn, the prettiest flowers of poisonous thorns.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So she wakes up and she's been captured by the Guardians from a different kingdom. She's introduced to the leader of that sect, which is kind of like the equivalent of
her mum,
now we know it's her mum, but we didn't at the time. But yeah, Vance. Yes, Vance. And they are giving her flame root powder.
Bastards!
They're giving her flame root powder to nullify her powers.
The mother, Cordelia, and they call her Del.
Yes, Del, that's it. So yeah, she's been captured by the Guardians. Not looking good for her.
When she sees the Arboros queen get dragged off, did you think, uh-oh,
she's a goner?
She's a goner.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Or certainly not looking good for her.
Yeah, I thought exactly the same. And then obviously at the end of the book, we find out that she's working with the Guardians.
Yes.
And that she's sort of letting them use her realm.
But they purposefully captured her to cover
so
that nobody would sniff out that she's involved.
And the Umbros Queen says something like, I haven't heard back off Arboros.
Yeah.
And Diem's like, she was captured with me. And they, it's heavily implied that she's probably dead.
Mm-hmm.
And then we find out right at the end she's
working with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of where we start off. And then Diem very unfortunately ends up being captured by these Guardians with the leader, Del, is actually quite,
she's all right.
She's all right. Quite a well-rounded individual.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, fucking Vance is there.
Yeah, and Vance is a cunt.
Oh, absolute nut job.
And Del ends up getting killed.
No.
Yeah.
Is she?
Yeah. She gets killed.
What, when Luther and that attack? Oh, I didn't think she got killed, but okay, maybe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she gets killed.
Maybe.
Because at the end, is like Vance is leading that.
I thought he just fucked off with a new sect and taken him up. But maybe, I don't know. Maybe I can't remember. I don't remember.
Almost certain, but oh gosh. A lot happened in this book.
It's a big book.
Luther tries to come and save her.
Yeah, they've got it
on Sorai.
captured. Yep.
She orders them away.
Tells them to fuck off.
Yeah, so it's not looking great for her.
No.
Del says, like, I'll help you. Off you go. And helps her escape.
Well, not Del. Actually, the guy she met in the first book with Henry, when she goes and he gives her the Godstone. Is that what it's called?
Breck. Breck.
Is that what it is?
His name?
Is it?
Breck. Like BRECKE.
Is it? Oh, I don't know why I thought it. I don't know. I didn't think. Okay, yeah, but him. And he actually shows up because he's again a member of the Guardians and sort of pretends that he's just coming over to have a chit chat with her and breaks her out and tells that Del is like giving him the okay to do it.
And she gets in a boat and she's off. She fucking goes paddling away. And she keeps getting pulled back.
Yeah, by like the wind and the tide. How suspicious. So she ends right back where she fucking left off.
She's like in the fucking tent like of one of the Guardians, like hiding. And then she realizes that Luther has come with Alex and Taran.
Yes.
To save her.
Yes.
And there's a big fucking fight.
Yeah, well, she chucks some bombs and
then we have Diem's first death.
Yeah, see, isn't it crazy that was it? Because up until
where her first kill.
Yeah, there's been so much violence.
I know.
So when she was like surprised, I was like, what are you fucking moaning about? But then I remembered, oh, it's because she's not killed before. Yeah.
So she's very upset that she killed somebody. And then they're sort of getting away and Vance comes along. Fucking Vance. Oh, God. It's like, who's the guy in Fourth Wing?
Oh, Jack Barlow.
No.
Oh.
The other one. Dane. And we're like, oh, fucking Dane.
Oh,
fucking Dane.
Yeah.
It's fucking Vance. Fuck Vance.
Yes.
And there's a fight. Alex and Diem get away. Luther and Taran stay to fight. And Taran's stabbed with Godstone.
Yep.
Did you think he was going to die? I genuinely thought it was touch and go at one point, and I was really, really sad.
Did I think he was going to die? But I'm too much of an optimist.
Yeah, I genuinely thought, fuck, we're going to lose him. Is he going to be?
I thought that we wouldn't get an answer until book 4.
Okay.
So I thought that he would dip at this point in the book, and then we wouldn't get any more Taran. So did I think he was going to die? Don't know, but I did think this is it for Taran in this book. Like I thought we were done.
I genuinely thought he's gone, especially when she said like that his veins were like spreading black, and I was like, oh fuck, we're fucked.
And they make it across the border to
Igneos.
Igneos, thank you.
And mortals aren't allowed in Igneos, so they're all standing in the jungle watching.
Because they'll set fire, won't they, if they go across the border?
So the one guy comes over and he bursts up into flames and is dead. Yeah. So they're all just standing on the border of the jungle watching them.
But now they're fucked because they're stuck in the desert in the middle of nowhere.
It's fucking boiling.
So they're trying to make it across to the next border, which is
Umbros.
Umbros, yeah. And Taran's fucked because he's been sliced up with some Godstone. Diem's doing it at utmost to try and save him, but she just knows like there's no cure for Godstone.
Yeah. And she's making like poultices, like use it like foraging for different things. And she accidentally cuts herself when she's making one, and her blood goes into it.
And lo and behold,
Taran starts healing.
Yes.
What did you think at that point? Obviously, we fucking knew
because
of her blood.
Yeah, but so again, like obviously you would not. Well, I'd like to think you're not listening to this unless you read the book, but it takes a long time for her to come to that conclusion.
It was a bit frustrating, really, when
I think that's just the craftsmanship of Penn Cole, in it is that like every single thing that she does, and I think that's a big thing in this book, and particularly in this book, is she doesn't half keep you fucking waiting for stuff
with bated breath,
but
like
in the best way.
Like, oh, Yeah, in the best way, but also I was getting so bloody frustrated. I was like, damn, use your head.
It was your blood.
So yeah, Taryn's healing.
Luther's being a frosty little bitch, isn't he?
Such a bastard.
Unfortunately.
And I'm fucking like ready to. He's a fucking Dane at this point. Like,
Yeah, he was not.
fucking Luther.
At one point, they try to there's guards on the beaches, and then they're trying to sneak past them. Oh, sorry, off the top, but train of thought. The king of Igneos's griffin thingy, Gryvin, shows up, and it listens to Diem.
Yeah, she sort of says like,
"Fuck off,
pretend there's something in the sand dunes,"
off, yeah.
And they go,
make like a leaf and fuck off.
But they do come back.
Mm.
And she sends Alex and Taryn away because Taryn's still healing. She tries to send Luther away.
She's making secret plots with Taryn and Alex, and that really riles Luther up.
Yeah.
That they're making like secret agreements with her to leave her be, basically.
Yeah. And then she turns into a big fucking ball of fire.
Yes, when they're trying to cross the border. So yeah, they get to near the border for Umbros, and there's guards on the beach, and they need to sort of nonchalantly wander past. So they pretend to be, I don't know.
She's like burning up, and sweating.
And then Luther says like, "Oh, she's my mate." I don't know why he says that. It's just to try and like lie, isn't it, or something. And that gets her all a bit like riled up and hot and heavy. And
she goes in the sea, and like it's all sizzling on her, and like bubbling. But then the king turns up, and they do fight. Alex and Taryn go.
Yes.
She fights the king, beats him.
But she's fighting the king with fire.
Yes.
So suddenly she's capable of wielding fire.
And she starts to realise that when he's hitting her with his fire, it's just making her stronger. So when she's about to burn out, he hits her with her fire, and she almost like recharges.
Yeah. So
she's a bit like, oh fuck, what's going on? And they get across the border. Yeah. Is the long and the short of it. And now they're in Umbros. So basically there's a lot of jumping around from place to place. And Umbros is the mind reading realm.
Yeah.
And they meet the guy who's flirting with Taryn.
Oh, Jaguar.
Yeah, but what's his name?
Oh. I can have a look.
He's from Luminos, isn't he?
Yeah, so Luther's got a contact in Umbros, which is, I think we mentioned the last episode, is that Luther doesn't actually execute the children under the progeny laws.
Yeah.
He has a contact in Umbros that he effectively smuggles the children to, and then they look after them from there.
Yeah.
So this is that contact, but Luther's never met them. Zalaric, yeah. Luther's never met them, just knows them as the Jaguar and knows that they would be at this pub or inn.
Yeah.
So him and Diem go there in an attempt to try and find him, because they know that he can at least help to get them passage back to Luminos. Yes. And they meet the Jaguar, aka Zalaric.
And it turns out Zalaric is one of the children that
Luther saves.
And he's really powerful.
Yeah, so there was another contact by another name who was the original person they were smuggling kids to. She passed away.
Died.
The Jaguar took over, aka Zalaric, and he was one of the children that Luther saved from having their throat slit.
Yeah. So he locks him in the room. They realise he's got big magic.
Yeah, he has. And he's from Luminos, so his magic is light magic. And all the children are from Luminos as well.
And he teaches them, and two children like intertwine their magic and use their magic together. Yeah. And he takes them shopping. When he takes them out shopping, obviously Luther won't go, he's been a bitch. He takes Taryn, Alex, and Diem shopping, and he like
glamours them,
and he makes Taryn a little girl.
That's a really enjoyable scene. So one thing to mention is just before that, when they're in the hotel room, obviously perfect opportunity for Luther and Diem to bang.
Yeah,
is when they're alone in a hotel. And will he fucking go near her? No. He's literally covering himself up from fucking head to toe.
It's a big scarf.
I was convinced it was because because they mention a mate mark in this book at some point, and I was absolutely convinced that a mate mark had appeared.
Yeah, but you have to do the mating ceremony and exchange blood.
I don't know if we knew that much at that point, but or maybe it was just me. But that was my theory, was that the mate mark had appeared and he was too scared to show Diem because he was worried it was going to like freak her out, and that's why he wouldn't touch her. Although he does very kindly finger bang her on the
Oh.
sink, which is the first ever like
It was
hot and
beautiful.
heavy we get from the
I
two
know,
of them.
but it did satisfy me. Like, it gave me what I
Oh, yeah.
needed at that point. Like, it was a bit dry up until then but the shopping scene's very enjoyable.
Lovely.
And she buys some bottled fire from the
Yes.
dead Gryvern.
We learn that 2 kingdoms, their Gryverns have died. Don't remember which ones.
No, I don't either.
Um,
One is Montios, I know that.
and the other is isn't it the realm that the big muscly man is king of?
Ortos.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm sure it's Fortos and Montios.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're like, it's a con, and she's like making the fire grow bigger inside the things. And anyway, she buys one. The last of one thing.
Yes. Obviously, from really when they leave Arboros, thank you. From when they leave Arboros, Luther is being frosty as fuck with Diem.
So frosty.
And we kind of realise that there's obviously something physical going on with him that we don't know.
Yeah.
What did you think was happening?
So when he first started being really frosty, I don't know why, but obviously because he had been back in Lumnos while she was captured, I thought he'd like made a deal or something and he'd married Ileana or something.
Shit.
Because he'd been on, like, we don't know what happened while she was captured. Like, we don't get like this is what Luther was doing. So I was like, was he like trying to make deals with people and like has he done something stupid like marry Ileana to get like a house on his side? And I was thinking like, I don't know, that there would be like some sort of mark that he was married and that he didn't want her to know and that he was sort of keeping her at arm's length because even if he didn't want to be married to Ileana, he didn't want to be unfaithful.
Yeah.
So I thought like, I don't know. That was sort of like what was going through my mind. Then you said about the mate mark and I was like, okay, yeah, that's a good shout. It could be that. Not for one fucking second did I think he'd been stabbed.
Me either.
That fucking was a curveball when I found out.
I was so frustrated at him, and especially because when they get to Umbros, obviously like all the Queen's doing is just mind fucking Diem the whole time. When I can't remember if she goes to knock on his door, but when she sees those 2 women leaving his room and him lying naked, I was like, this better not, like, Penn Cole, you better have a good fucking reason for this happening, because if it's what I think it is.
I was furious.
I was so angry.
I was fucking tamping. I was like, fuck you, Luther. Fuck you.
Yeah, I was
leaving there.
I was fuming. And obviously we find out that he also got stabbed by Godstone. And he's
on death's door.
Literally
on Did you think he was going to die? Because obviously she's not fucking getting that it's her blood. And he is like teetering on the edge.
It's hard to say, right? Because I think like we've never read Penn Cole before.
Yeah.
Because some authors do that. Like some authors kill off their main fucking characters. They don't give up. And I did worry, but and again, maybe I'm too much of an optimist, but my only thought was like, because they keep having these visions of being on the battlefield, don't they? And maybe it's a foresight, but I keep thinking it's a past thing. I think they're seeing themselves from the past.
Because they're like old gods reincarnated.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
And so I kept thinking like, so he could physically die, but maybe like they're reunited in a more sort of like spiritual, I don't know.
Because they come across the blade that is in there. When do they come across that? Is it in Sophos? Yes. So when they're in Sophos and they're going to fight her biological father, the kid like brings out the godstone that they've got, and it's like the godstone sword from their visions, and it's like humming in her hand.
Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And they talk about that some of the original godstone that was made when the first.
And she's like, it was all supposed to be destroyed. Why have you got
Kindred, it? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my running theory, but I was real hot on the mate mark thing. I thought, oh yeah, like he's not gonna betray her. But then when I fucking read that those women had been slinking out of his room and he was lying naked, I was fucking furious.
Tamping. Yeah, I cried a lot when I realised he'd been stabbed and like when he's not getting better and when she's not realising it's her blood that will help him. I was very, very upset.
Yeah.
I cried a lot. But one nice thing from this book that we get is the relationship between Taran and Zalaric.
Oh, just a delight.
Not that like there's like personalities that come across gay and personalities that don't, but I just didn't expect Taran to be gay. Because he'd sort of flirted with Diem in book 1 and 2. Like, I'm here for it. I fucking love the banter between him and Zalaric, and I love the relationship there. But I was like, oh, okay.
I do wonder, because I know that he does say, oh no, I do prefer men. But he does give me a bit of like a bi vibe.
Yeah,
I know we've said this, and not to compare to other characters, but he gives me such an Adion vibe.
Yes.
And we love it. And him and Zalaric is just, oh my gosh, what an absolute pair of firecrackers. It's so enjoyable to read.
And it's like, obviously, it's not enemies to lovers, but like Taran like acts like he can't stand him, but we all know like you're fucking gagging for him.
Well, and I think Zalaric is so clever because he says to Diem like, he's goading Taran constantly.
Yeah.
And then when they're alone, he says to Diem, like, oh, I think he's really hot. Like,
yeah.
And he's doing it for like a rise. And then when Diem knocks on Taran's door and he's in bed with him, it was great.
Yeah.
Loved it.
I was really glad that that Diem took him back to Lumnos with them. Like, yeah, that I was happy with that.
And he's of House Hanover. He's Jean. He's Jean Hanover's fucking child.
Also sort of like hinted at in this book, not confirmed but hinted, is that it was House Hanover that killed her father.
Because
he like says rebel scum. He says the words that were painted
on the. But then also another thing to note that when she goes to Sophos, and I don't know why the ruler of Sophos, who is the one who uses they them pronouns, I can't remember if they give Diem a blade or Diem sees,
and it's the same as
the blade that killed her father, but just a different color.
And they said, "Oh, we gifted the twin to somebody else."
Hanover, it's got to be.
Yeah,
bastards. So yeah, oh god, so many corkers in this story.
I know. But Penn, obviously, like not to be like, Penn told us. Penn said earlier that she did put Easter eggs
everywhere. Yeah.
So I'm like, I wonder how many we've picked up on.
Probably not many.
No. Another question I have for you. When they're on the back of the Gryvern fighting the Queen of Umbros.
Oh yeah.
And she drops the fire of the other Gryvern by accident, and something happens, but it's not specific.
It kind of implies that the fire fights for them.
Yeah, but like, I needed more. Like,
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a bit of resurrection.
That's what I was thinking. When did like her blood go into it as she dropped it?
Well, and also like, is it
another Gryvern's gonna come along? Like,
is it fighting for her? Because we obviously learn in this book that like she's
of every
land. She has all the power. So is it reacting because she is like it thinks that she's the ruler of whatever realm it was from?
Yeah. Also interestingly, in book 3, we get the death of the Fortos king.
Yeah, I mean, fuck him.
Fucking prick. And she becomes the queen of Fortos.
And we learn that Motanos died.
Yeah, we didn't know this.
So she had that crown, because they mention at the beginning that her crown looks different. But she just thinks, oh, like, whatever.
But it's because Montios died in the explosion.
But she's been the queen of Montios for like half the book and we didn't even know.
Yeah. And then at the end, Igneos kills Umbros, and she also becomes the queen of Umbros. So now she's queen of 4 out of 9 realms.
But also, when she's spending time with the queen of Umbros, she says, my death is coming soon. She knew that that's how she was going to die, and she knew that it would be Diem that took over.
She gives her the keys to the library.
She knew that it was going to be
There's
Diem.
got to be something important in that library.
100%.
Got to be, but I don't know what.
The other thing she does when she's being killed, the Umbros queen's nails are tipped with Godstone. So she cuts the Igneos king as she's going down with Godstone, and he says, she managed to land a blow. So in theory, Igneos is dying unless Diem heals him, which fuck knows if she will.
She won't, because they've all left her on the fucking island.
So she probably inherit Igneos now as well.
So she'll be the queen of 5 out of 9 realms.
And obviously the way it's going, the assumption is she is the queen of everyone.
I know. What do you think? Like, what?
So we all, and obviously we learn a lot more about Diem's dad in this because we get Diem's mum.
That like patch of dead land in Montios was a 10th realm.
10th realm, and at the moment Diem's running with the theory that like because this guy is going by 2 different names, right?
Yeah.
So she thinks that the guy in the dungeon which we'll get to that in a minute, but another banging some bloke in the dungeon is fucking wild. We'll get to that in a second.
The grey man who's been chained underground. Hasn't seen the light of day in hundreds of years, and her mother bangs him.
Who goes, right? I gotta go on a special mission for a year and stay on this island. Which, do we ever find out why? Was it to collect flame root? We don't really know. There was a reason. We can't remember what the reason was. But she goes into some fucking crypt hole in the ground, finds some grey man chained to the wall.
He's genuinely described as grey.
And then says, oh, but you know what? He was a fucking charmer. And
jammed the pants right off.
Didn't take any plan B with me. So I was unprotected and banged him. And she says, oh, he was real keen on having a baby. And that did not ring any alarm bells.
You've just met him. He's been underground for hundreds of years. He's grey and keen to have a child. And you're like, oh, go on then.
Go on then. Doesn't look suspicious to me. No red flag, only grey flags here.
What was she? Oh, really? What were you thinking?
And then she was like, she's like, yeah, but Defo doesn't mean that you're like descended or you're a god.
But also, he's chained up in this crypt.
And then, sorry, what we haven't mentioned.
And he can't get out. So she goes into the crypt and bangs him.
What we don't mention is after she gives birth to Diem, he tries to stab her. And then she's like, oh, do you know
so
what?
he tries to stab. She walks in and he's got a knife over Diem.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, actually,
you know what?
He might be bad.
Maybe
he might be chained up in here for a reason.
So she leaves him. Yeah.
Wild.
Sorry, we completely went off on a tangent.
But she lets him out then because she explodes the temple.
Yeah.
Really, and that's how he gets out.
Yeah. Yeah. So his name is something, and then the guy that is now ruling this like 10th realm, leading the sort of guardians that are all a bit fucked, has got another name, but they're very similar. So I'm not going to lie, Penn Cole, you can't fool me. I'm going to put 2 and 2 together and just think it's the same guy. Diem thinks that she's a long distant descendant of that person. She doesn't think that she's the direct daughter. At this point, they haven't put 2 and 2 together and realised that the guy in the dungeon is the original Kindred.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's why she's getting the crowns, because she's the closest to a Kindred of anybody, but...
Yeah, because why wouldn't they go to him?
Yeah. And also, just being the child of a realm, like the other Kindred's children didn't get all the crowns.
Yeah.
What I need to know is she's obviously a descendant of this 10th realm, but what the fuck is their power? But is their power stealing other powers? And really, she isn't the real leader of the realm. She's just stealing them.
I think the power of this 10th realm, I've told you this, is thunder and lightning. Because when her blood touches the godstone, there's lightning.
Yeah.
There's like another 2 instances that I can't remember where lightning and thunder is mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's thunder and lightning, or like controlling the clouds and the sky. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
something
think
like that. Yeah.
I think it's thunder and lightning. Personally,
I'm just.
Well, that's a good theory, that it's like that you can absorb other powers, and maybe absorbing powers, because when people hit her,
she's a conductor.
Ooh, and lightning would make sense then.
But that's what I think up until now, everything else is like not explained, but like you've got more of a running thing. But the one thing that I'm still fucking baffled by is why is she getting all these crowns?
Yeah.
Like, why her? Because the Kindred, if his child was going to be like the chosen ruler, why would they lock him away? You know?
I think it's like implied that only she can kill him.
Yes, isn't it like a prophecy or something? I can't remember.
Yeah, when the daughter of the forgotten and something.
Yeah.
But then fucking Sophos fucks her over and traps her on the island.
Oh, don't get me started on that. That whole final scene,
I was
they
fuming.
were doing my Sweden. They really
and
were.
then Perth dies.
Oh my god. Because they curse the fucking island, and if anybody lands on it, they're gonna die.
Other than the crowns.
And so fucking Teller and Luther
and Perth
and
rock up on Sorai.
Yeah, and she can't carry all of them and just goes, well, it's Teller or him, and it's gonna be Perth, and it's fucking heartbreaking.
It's awful.
Yeah. And there's so many fucking twatty bits in this.
Yeah.
One really interesting aspect of this book is she appoints Alex as the leader of a royal guard over Luther, which Luther agrees with because he says, I can't serve as the royal guard because you're too much. I'm not thinking about the kingdom. I'm just thinking about you, and I will fuck the entire kingdom to save you.
Yeah.
So he agrees, like, I'm not the right person to be doing this job. Alex is. Alex takes over and gets stuck in a really awkward position because now Remus has been a little fucking bitch back in Luminos, chaining up Sorai, just being a dickhead. And Diem tells her, you need to serve the crown. So you need to serve Remus, even if it disagrees with me. And we get that there's a scene where Diem's trying to leave on Sorai. They've got her chained up and Alex can't do anything.
Yeah, and like, part me was fucking tamping. Because I'm like, Alex, like I couldn't believe it. But then part of me was like, well, no, good on you, because nobody ever fucking listens to Diem. She asks people to do things and they just fucking do what they want anyway. So part of me was like, oh, well done for finally fucking doing what she's asking of you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, fucking devastated because, like, she can't help. And, like, I'm like, you bitch.
I do think, though, that Diem and Alex are playing the long game.
Yeah,
I think it's going to pay off in book 4 big time.
Yes.
If she's got Remus enough in her pocket, I reckon she's going to be able to pull some sway at some point.
But here's a question for you. Book 4. We currently know Diem is imprisoned on this island.
Yeah.
Only the crowns can go on this island. Nobody else can set foot on this island. Gryvons can't fly near it. They've got people in the water, like armies in the water. So how the fuck is she going to get off? Like, what is going to happen?
Do you know what I'm really worried about, though? Is that her fucking daddy shows up. A real
daddy.
A
grey daddy.
Yeah, not Luther, not the shadow daddy, a real daddy. Shows up and, like, she's just a sitting duck for him. Because he's a crown. Like, let's assume he's a crown.
Yeah, let's assume he's the crown of the, like,
10th round.
Baron
Yeah.
lands. And
like, she's just a sitting duck now.
Yeah.
She's a bit fucked.
Is she going to kill off her main character in book 4?
Oh my God, could you imagine? The fucking balls to do that.
Nah, I don't reckon she will.
Not because I don't think you've got the balls, Penn Cole. I do think you have the balls. I just don't think...
But you don't have any magic on the Kindreds.
No.
There's no magic.
No.
So...
Fuck knows.
Who would win in a fist fight? Diem is trained by Diem Bellator.
And this is the thing. This guy, I can't even remember his name, but her dad, like, is only capable of doing things to her because of his power.
Yeah.
So if he's got fuck all as well, hand-on-hand combat, who's your money on? My money's on fucking Diem.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. So in this, we see quite a lot of friction between Teller and Diem. So we learn that Teller finds out that their mum is very much alive and Diem kept it from him. And there's a couple more instances of things that, like, Diem doesn't tell Teller.
That he was invited to Sophos to train and learn.
So, and they have an agreement at one point, you know, you promise you're not going to keep things from me. And she's like, no, I promise. And in Teller's eyes, she continues to lie to him.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on that and that sort of dynamic?
It was hard for me because I understood Diem's point of view, because, like, if she's been told Sophos take the mortals and then they kill them or they use them for, like, human trials and experiments, then yeah, you're going to be worried about your little brother.
Yeah.
But had she just told him that and said, look, this is what I've heard and I really don't want you to go, rather than just keeping the whole thing from him, because obviously he finds out and then he just fucking goes.
Yeah.
Like, almost to spite her.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm like, I understand wanting to keep your sibling safe, but, like, you can't just keep fucking lying to everybody and keeping, like, learn from your lessons. And
I think for me, I don't agree with her because she makes a conscious effort in it. She mentions in book 2 to not tell him about the mum thing.
Yeah.
But everything else, right, I'm going to be honest, I think just Taylor has been a little fucking bitch about it all. Because the Sophos thing, I get at some point she probably thought, oh, I'm not going to tell him because he'll want to go.
Yeah.
But honestly, she just fucking forgotten at the very
Yeah.
end. Like in the beginning, yeah, but after like after a day, I just feel like Taylor, she got so much on her fucking plate, right? She's fucking queen of like
She got challenged by 20 houses.
She's challenged by 20 houses, kidnapped. She's queen of fucking 4 realms. Her dad died. Her dead mother is not dead. Found out she got a grey daddy from a prison.
Her mum shagged somebody under the ground.
Her mum shagged some grey bloke under the ground.
A corpse, basically.
Yeah, literally.
A shriveled up prune.
Literally from underneath. Who tried to kill her as a baby. Luther's nearly fucking died in the meantime. Taryn's nearly fucking died in the meantime. She got a new mate from Lumina, from Umbros. The fucking Queen of Umbros, so we didn't mention this, but like the Queen of Umbros tries to kill her when she leaves Umbros. Like, it's like, tell her, she's had a fucking time of it, right?
Yeah,
Cut the girl some slack.
Give her a break.
Yeah.
Yeah, selfish of him. Selfish of Diem to keep things from him.
I think the mum thing was wrong, I do agree. But everything else, I don't think it was like an active choice. It's just she's been a bit fucking booked and busy, Tella.
I know, but like, you can also understand it because, like, imagine she says, like, mum's alive. And he's like fucking buzzing. She's like, Luther said, if she's not back by the end of the year, he's going to go and get her. Buzzing.
Well, then
what if she dies in the meantime?
And he'd probably
you don't know where she is.
And he'd probably have a lot of animosity towards Luther because,
yeah.
like, obviously, you know, like, not to be crude, but like DM's climbing him like a tree, so she's probably a bit more forgiving.
Yeah.
But Taylor doesn't really have that relationship with Luther, so he's like, why the fuck is this like little prince not fucking telling me where my mother is? You know, so
yeah, exactly.
And it's really heartbreaking that Taylor says that he chooses to go to Sophos because he knows that he doesn't think that he's good enough for Lily.
Oh, heartbreaking. So sad.
Yeah.
How funny is it? The like young boy in Sophos who's obsessed with Diem and like just like flirting with her non-stop.
Don't give a fuck.
Luther's like, fuck off.
And she says at multiple points, like, I'm spoken for, and he doesn't stop shooting his shot.
Yeah.
Don't give a fuck that, like,
go on, kid.
Prince Illuminos, big shadow daddy, is right in front of him. He's going to keep shooting his shot. I appreciate it.
Yeah, same. I'm like, fair play.
That brings us on to the point of when they finally get to Sophos, Finally. Do they bang? And at one point, because it's quite obviously, it's right at the very end of the book, and there's a scene just before they bang where they almost bang, and Penn fucking keeps us
rips
hanging,
the carpet out from under our feet,
throws a bucket of cold water all over us. And I genuinely thought, I was like, Penn, I love you. I'm saying like she's listening, like she's my mate, Penn. But I thought she's gonna fucking keep us gasping till book 4, isn't she? I really didn't think it was coming.
Yeah.
But somebody did.
Somebody did come. I think they both did.
Yeah. Multiple.
Yes. We get a lovely banging scene.
A library bang.
Yeah, with all the candles.
Cute.
And it was lovely.
It was lovely.
It was amazing.
Yeah. As soon as the leader of Sophos specifically says they only want Diem to go to the island.
Yeah.
I was like, this isn't good.
And she says, like, I'll just go and find Taylor and blah, blah, blah. But they've got Taylor. And that's how they get her to make the blood pact.
Yeah.
Because they got a fucking knife to Taylor's throat. Ah, bastard.
All bastards. So, as a little, I guess, like, wrap up.
Yeah.
Should we just do a little predictions for book 4?
Yes. I think that when she dropped that Gryvern fire, she somehow resurrected a Gryvern, and it's one of her Gryverns. I feel like it's going to be able to come to the Temple Island somehow. Don't know how, but it's going to be able to, because she's banished Sorai. She said, don't come back.
Well, and they've spelled it so Gryverns can't land.
Yeah. I reckon she's an old god, like a Kindred or whatever. Like, she's got bigger powers than everybody else. And I reckon the blood bond pact thing doesn't really affect her. I reckon she can break it and she won't lose her magic and she won't die.
Good theories.
And I reckon she's going to jump on a Gryvern and go for her dad.
Yeah.
And kill him. And I reckon once he's dead, because then it's not an OG kindred, it's like mortal diluted blood, that the land will replenish. It won't be because it basically says like a burnt out, like barren land.
Yes, yeah.
Like in a and I reckon the land will replenish. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah.
But especially because, like, not to give because we've got the episode with Penn coming out. I don't want to give too much away, but we asked her to describe book 4 in 3 words, and one of the words she used was devastating.
Oh, yeah.
So
I really didn't see that coming.
I know when she said that, we both
were like,
and she literally said, "Oh, both of your faces," because we were both like,
yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I think whatever. I don't think either of us could correctly predict book 4.
My predictions are these are big reaches. So I really believe that these like visions that Luther and Diem see of them on the battlefield are not in the future.
The original.
I think, yeah.
God War.
I think that Diem is the child of this 10th god.
Yeah.
But I think that the other realms created her as like a way. So she's his daughter, but like she's almost the same equivalent as a kindred.
Okay.
She's she's kind of the same level as a kindred, right? And she was born years ago and fought and then killed. And then was like, basically the prophecy was, well, if you had another one, if another blood happened, then blah, blah, blah. And that's what happens when her mum bangs him and has another baby. Like Diem is effectively like reborn.
Yeah.
I think that Luther I don't even think that maybe his mum is his mum. I think he is a direct, like first line down descendant of Luminos.
Okay.
And I think the visions he sees it was Luminos.
Okay.
And I think that like potentially, because I think it's pretty confirmed that Luminos is a woman or was a woman.
Yes.
That like that Diem's like soul and Luther's soul, whether it was as Luminos or whatever he was thousands of years ago, were in love.
Yeah, because he worships Luminos, like the god, and very heavily. He's got like a bust of her, and when he's dying, Diem's going fucking batshit crazy, and she goes into his room and she's screaming at the bust, and the bust starts crying blood.
Well, and he mentions in the second book, I think, or
and
maybe
that's never addressed. They never go back and say, "Let's have a look at the bust."
No. And the other thing, he mentions that when his dad killed his biological mum, he actually killed Luther as well, but Luminos came to him and saved him.
Yeah.
Why would she? This is what I mean. Like, I think,
she knew, because she knew Diem was out there. She knew Luther needed to live to get to Diem. Oh, yeah. What do you think's going to happen with her dad, though?
Oh, I think he's dead. Oh, sorry. Not Andre.
Not Andre.
Grey daddy.
Grey corpse daddy.
I do think that the sort of plot point, the way to kill him is to get him to land on the island, because there's not ever going to be another point where he's going to be powerless. I don't think it'll obviously happen in the beginning, but I wonder if she thinks that and thinks, right, we need to lure him to this island and then I'm going to kill him because that's how you kill them. Like that's how I think she's going to do it. Do you want to hear one of my other predictions?
Well,
that one of these characters, so either Taryn, Zalaric, Alex, Eleanor, Lily, Teller. Am I missing any more of the inner circle? Potentially Aemon.
Okay.
I don't think I'm missing anyone else. Is going to die.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a death.
Dead.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a death.
And honestly,
if it's Tara, I'm going to be.
I think it could be Tala. Oh, and also, I think her mum's going to die.
I hope she does.
Her mum in this we text all the time. Her mum was a fucking bitch.
I couldn't stand her mother in this book. She don't give a shit about her kids.
No fucks.
She don't give a shit about anybody.
She was so fucking rude to Luther. And then when she catches when he's like finger banging and she's like, stop defiling my daughter. It's like I'm not being funny, right? But I think she's game and this is very consensual. It was awful. She's a fucking dickhead, her mother. Fuck her mother, quite frankly. I do think her mother's gonna die. The only other thing I just want to mention, I know this is supposed to be a book 4, but just we need to talk about it quickly, is fucking Henry. And he's shagging, what's her face?
The healer.
Who's a part of the rebellion, a part of the Guardians, who, like, Diem finds out really early on that she's a member in book one, but they just don't address it. I can't think of her name.
I can't think of her name.
And he's fucking gonna marry her.
Twat.
And that's like sort of, I wouldn't say like that resolution scene she has with Henry, that's sort of like...
That was very well done, I think.
It was very well done, but he was such a fucking prick.
Literally, like, the fucking theme of this series is Henry's a prick.
It should be called the Kindred Saga, Henry's a little fucking bitch.
Literally, fuck Henry.
Yeah, he was a twat. Yeah.
Every scene with Henry in it,
I'm like, oh,
I want to blow my brains out because I fucking hate him.
Yeah, I agree.
No, so after this episode, next week, we will have our interview with Penn Cole.
Yes.
It was really, really fun.
So fun.
She gave us a little, little hint of what to expect, but nothing like no spoilers.
No, but if you're looking for some, like, little suggestions, hints as to what's coming from book 4, we would definitely recommend listening.
Yes.
And also just to kind of hear like the process and what goes into her writing this series.
Yeah, because it's quite interesting, like how she came up with the map.
Yeah.
How she decided how the realms were going to be laid out. How did she decided on the magic? Yeah. Sort of like how she writes, like her like how she gets herself set in the scene for writing.
Yeah.
It was such an enjoyable like time with her.
We're biased, but she was a delight.
She was so nice.
Such a delight. So that's coming next week. Then week after is a big old TBC.
Well, we're thinking of maybe it might be a mini-sode. I don't know how much content we'll have for it. But we're thinking of doing a sort of like what will scratch your ACOTAR itch if you're in a book slump after ACOTAR.
Yeah, so it all really depends on when Kindred's Curse Saga when book 4 comes out.
Yeah, because Penn said today, like, it's a bit up in the air. It might come earlier than expected. It might come later than expected.
So if book 4 is out and we have time to read it for that episode recording, we will just be doing, we'll do episode 4 straight after Penn's interview and that's that. But potentially it might not be. So yeah, as Sam said, we're thinking of maybe doing series or books we would recommend to scratch either the ACOTAR or the Sarah J Maas itch. So if you're listening and you finish ACOTAR and you're like, what now?
Yeah.
We've got that covered. Maybe it's a mini-sode in addition, because we do have a From Blood and Ash wishlist episode that we've recorded. So we might release that and do the mini-sode. Who knows?
Maybe start doing Book of Azrael, start doing that.
Maybe.
Monsters, Gods, whatever it's called.
We do want to do the book from Gods and Monsters series, so the Book of Azrael and Mythical Nicole series. So we'll see.
We've got a meeting on Wednesday.
We have a business meeting on Wednesday.
And we'll map it all out then.
And the other thing we've mentioned before, but just to kind of like remind you all, is our Patreon is coming.
Yes.
It will be decided in our business meeting on Wednesday. As to what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And the only other thing to mention, keep an eye out, is we are going to re-record our first episode.
We are. We haven't had time, but we are.
We are. Our first episode, we're very fortunate, is our biggest hitter, and it continues to get downloads all the time. And we're just very understanding that the sound quality,
honestly,
all the others I think are fine because we were using some semblance of a mic.
Yeah, but that first one, we both had like bloody Skype headsets on. Like, I think mine was falling apart. Only you could hear us, so like I couldn't hear anything, and I was just having to wing it. It's a bit of echo. It's just
But we're lucky that our podcast hosting site allows us to update the recording.
Yeah.
So our plan is, again, maybe not anytime soon, but we are gonna re-record that because it seems to be what everybody goes to when they start listening to us. So
yeah, it's nice that people want to start from the beginning and listen to everything that we've got to say about everything.
And we don't want people to listen to 10 minutes and go, fucking hell, this is shite quality. No thanks.
And we did have a request from somebody on TikTok who has read Throne of Glass but hasn't read any other Sarah J Maas to do like a Throne of Glass only ranking sort of system. So we need to map that out and we're going to do that as well. But we might do it for each series. We might do an Akatar one, a Crescent City one, and a Throne of Glass one.
Yeah.
So if you've only read one out of the 3 series, you can just
listen
jump
to it.
straight into that.
Agreed.
Oh,
I
take
think
a
that
breath.
was everything. Flipping
Yeah.
heck. There was a lot to cover this week, but I think we did it.
But yeah, just live on air. I just want to say I'm really proud of everything that we've achieved, and humble brag, but I'm really proud.
What a bloody week. What a bloody month.
Yeah.
What a bloody few weeks. Yeah. I agree.
Thanks so much for listening.
Follow us on TikTok and Instagram at A Pod of Smut and Wingspan.
See you next week.
Bye.